Welcome back, everybody. So in this video we will be covering on making our handleSubmit form. That way we can take all of our input that our user creates, and then as soon as they hit submit blog, it'll be able to post into our database. Okay, or actually here database. Right, so let's get started. So what we're going to do now is we already have connected our Axios, so as we can see it's working. And as we took a look in the previous video, we have our APIs here, our values, and we connected it and everything's working successfully. So now we are going to create our handleSubmit form. So to do that, we're going to say const, make a function, const handleSubmit, and then just finish it off. And then inside of this, we are going to be using the event function. That way we can just type in event.prevent default, just like that, and then as if you're going to be calling it. And it's just going to help out with reloading the page. That way it doesn't really reload the page with anything that we do as well. Okay, so now that we have that, we are going to make our post request using Axios. So we're going to say Axios, okay, and then instead of .get, we're going to say .post, okay. And remember, we're using .post because it is as our server, okay. And remember, in order to make a post, we have to put .post, okay. And then we have to include our title, preview, and post. So let's go back to our create a blog, and then we're going to just take that, and then we are going to copy and paste the path, just like that. And inside of the parentheses as well, that's where we are going to include our values. So title, preview, and post, just like that. So pretty much what's left for us to do is just to pass it through here. And then remember how we stored here, the same thing that we're going to do here. So we're going to be creating this function for the form that includes our title, preview, and post fields, and they're going to get stored inside of here. That way, once the user clicks send or submit blog, all of them go into our database. Okay, so we are going to type in set title, just like this, set preview, parentheses and quotes there, and then set post, and then just like that. And then now lastly, we're going to refetch the blogs. That way, once we click send, it'll kind of render over here as well. That way we can see that it's working. Okay, so let's just that, and we're going to add in our fetch blog. Fetch blogs. Okay, and we're calling it. Okay, and of course with everything, if it doesn't work, we want to make sure that we catch it, and we want to see if there's an error, and then we want it to come out in the console log, unable, with a message that says unable to post blog, something like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to input what we have here and pretty much input them to the forms. So we're just going to form, okay, so just space it, and then we're going to use on submit here, just like that. And then inside of it, we are going to pass in this function. That way, you know that in the form, we're passing in this function to do something with it, and which is to do all of this here, to post. Okay, so we're going to say type in handleSubmit, just like that, and we should be good. So now we are going to do these one by one as well. So we're going to work on the title input, then the preview, then the post, then the button, of course. So we're just going to go on to the next line a little after the last quote here. That way we don't interfere with the CSS. And we're going to type in the type. It's going to be a text. Okay. So the next we are going to type in a placeholder. Now this is optional, but sometimes it does look better when there's like a like a text field, and I'll like a placeholder field, and I'll show you here. So we're going in the title, we're going to enter the title here. Okay, and just like that. And I'm pretty sure you've seen that a lot when you're like registering or logging in to any of the websites. It has that, so that's a placeholder. Okay, so the next thing is that we're going to make a value, and then the value is going to be title. Okay, and the value is coming from here because this is where the title is. Okay, perfect. So the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to make an on change, because of course if we're passing through a function over here, we have to make an on change in our input. So we're just going to take this, the event, and then set it to set title. And we're going to type in e.target.value, which is event.target.value. So what this is pretty much doing is it's telling it to take whatever the user inputs into the input field and store it into the title. So it's the title, or the set title. Cooler if you want to look at it that way, right? So we're taking the input and we're setting it into our cooler. That way, once it hits submit blog, everything goes into our database right here. Okay, so once we're done with this, we can go on to the preview, and we're going to do pretty much the same thing. We're going to do type, because it's going to be a text. You can make a placeholder if you wanted to. It's optional once again. Enter preview here. I can't spell preview here, and as you can see, enter preview here. And then lastly, we're going to make our on change, in which we're going to be taking the event and passing it into our set preview, and then e.target.value, just like that. So once again, now when the user types in the preview field or input, it's going to be stored into our set preview hook or use state. Okay, that way it's stored there and it's ready to be shipped off as soon as they hit the submit blog. Okay, and it'll be shipped off once again into our database. And lastly, we're going to do the same thing for our text area, except in the text area we are not going to include the type because it's already a text area. And as you can see, if you use type, nothing's going to come up here. So you can just leave it there, and then we're going to just say placeholder if you want to, optional, and then enter your thoughts here. We can do that, and then perfect. So as you can see, enter your thoughts there. And then lastly, we are going to be, oh, and sorry, I forgot to input the value in our preview. That's very important, our preview. And why is it on the line? Okay, perfect. Okay, all right, and let's just go back, and now we are going to enter our value here, and it's a post because that's the post for our value. And lastly, of course, we're going to make our on change, and then the same thing, our event, we're going to pass it to our set post, which is e.target.value, just like that. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So lastly, what we have to work on is just the submit button, and we can just type submit, and that's pretty much it. So now we should be good to go. We'll take a look to see if it works. Fingers crossed, right? So let's just reload the page here, and let's see. So now once we press enter or submit blog, it'll, instead of 2, it should come 3. Okay, so we'll type in today is Tuesday. Tuesdays are better than Mondays, and Tuesdays are closer to the weekend. Okay, perfect. So let's do that, and let's submit blog. And perfect, guys, look at that. So as you can see, it worked perfectly. It was added to the database, and now instead of 2, now we have 3. And then look at that, guys. Post Tuesdays are closer to the weekend. Preview, Tuesdays are better than Mondays. And title, today is Tuesday. Awesome, guys. Now, if you want, we can just double check it in two things. Go to localhost here, and then just refresh the page, and it's there, right? And then let's go check in Postman. See if it's there, and send it off, and perfect. As you can see, it's there. And lastly, we want to make sure that it's in our data here. So let's just refresh this, our MongoDB, and as you can see, it's there, guys. Look at that. So perfect. So it's working perfectly, and we should be good to go with our creating a blog page. Now the next thing that we're going to work on is our homepage, where we are going to just be rendering our title and our preview. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.